whoops. Keep forgetting to take the thing off. All right. Yeah. So just to quickly go over something. VOD watchers will make no sense, but before the stream started, there was a particular thing that was happening where once again it seems that I've become subject to yet another raid from the Beanie Boys server. Which, to be clear, I'm okay with that happening, just as long as it doesn't start to like impact the other people who are not in the know. Bear in mind that some people are legitimately confused about what goes on and obviously don't share the same humor as someone from an entirely different fan base. So just to bear that in mind in the future, the mods have handled it. So I'm just going to say that be, hopefully be all that needs to be said about that because we want to move on. So in the spirit of doing that, let's move on to the next episode of. Okie dokie. So I guess another thing I should mention, the thumbnail for this stream will have changed because apparently I accidentally, before I did this, downloaded season 2, episode 2, but I also got season 1, episode 2. So the video we're going to watch today is the correct one. The thumbnail is wrong, but I mean, to be honest, an excuse to put myself in a tutu, I suppose. So, why not? I don't think she's going to sing because, again, that was the wrong thumbnail. So hopefully, hopefully that will not be the well, I mean, I say hopefully, because again, this is of course that one mute girl, so she really should not be singing for the sake of the continuity of what's going on right now. Then again, there are a few things that have already become the subject of question, namely how is she not put together the reason behind her own mutism, because we had that spoiled to us in the first episode in the very first scene via narration. But yet she hasn't seemed to have put it together as of yet. Honestly, you could have like omitted that first narration part and kept it a bit of a mystery if you wanted that to be the case. But then that would also raise the question later on as to how she didn't connect the dots. Because I said before, the outcomes of a trauma that happens, are unpredictable in a lot of occasions. But if you have a very clear side effect right after you experience something hugely traumatic, chances are, 99.9 recurring percent of the time they're going to be related. So that was my main thing about that. But let's see how that proceeds, because we skipped years into the future, where it seems that she is still using the notepad to speak, and she's still that one mute girl. And now this is apparently her first day at a new school, I believe. So in that spirit, I see we'll see how that goes. If she will be able to write down her name potentially on the board, like I did my first day of school in Spain, and no one could pronounce it, or we'll see something else. So, all right. It was neutral, mutant girl. Yes, everyone's made a bunch of mutant girl jokes before. I will once again just reiterate, because anyone watches this without context, I was not inspired by this series to make the mutant girl. If I had seen it, chances are I would have been, but yeah. Pure coincidence there. Isn't selective mutism in that case. Yeah, did I say selective? I meant to say just general mutism. That's what was implied there. Oh wait, sorry, you're referring to what BB was saying. Okay. Right. Yeah, because in her case, yeah, my understanding of selective mutism is that it happens at selective times, whether, not say the person themselves chooses. I mean that it's like, dependent on certain conditions being applied. Whereas this was the case of like, one major source of trauma and its entire mutism. That's not selective. That's just everything. That's my understanding, at least. I haven't looked into this, but just based on the nature of the words and their definitions, I would wager that would be the case. All right. Oh, yes. And also, that's a good point. The sister's name was Belle, and the main character's name is Arabelle. So she was a victim of both a trauma and uncreative parents who were also neglectful, which kind of seems to track, honestly. That's another thing as well that hasn't been explained yet. We found out that Arabelle was blamed for the car crash that killed her sister, but we don't know how that happened. We haven't seen the incident. We haven't had a proper description of it yet. So, and we know that she was too young to have been driving the car. Did she distract the driver in some way? I have no idea. So hopefully we'll find that out sometime within this first season, because apparently there are 2 seasons, so it'll probably be a big reveal at some point. So there you go. The song playing in the back of the entire episode, if it's copyrighted, it is copyrighted, and that is why I brought up the description of this video, because there are some things in here that I should go over before we actually start this video. So, first of all, warning, the end scene may be, as in may space B is meant to say, the end scene may be inappropriate or violent. Not both of them, it will be one or the other, I guess. So if you're not looking forward to it, please skip or do not watch. It's your choice. So FAQ, apparently. How didn't anyone notice the stitch? This happened when she was a kid back then. You know, she was a kid back then, which, yes, that would be how that works in the brackets. She no longer have it. So I guess that means that in some case in this episode, there's going to be a case of like some part that she had like a stitch before that has since healed, which I would feel like would make a lot of sense. But I guess if it's an FAQ, then people just are unobservant, I suppose. I don't know. We'll check that when we see that in the video. How can she eat/drink? I mean, she's mute, not like mutilated. And yes, the music is from Caitlin Tarver and Night Chord by one of the Dark Elves and Mixmaster. So yeah, so in that case, fortunately, I have since added the entire Pixelmon Biomes album of Chris Geddes onto onto this, which, bear in mind, I did pay for multiple years ago, so I'm allowed to use it. Yeah, let's I guess we'll begin, but also mute the video. So there we go, adding that. And depending on what the first... Oh, this is just the intro bit, by the way, which has since changed, I think. Actually, wait, is this the right one? Okay, it is the right one. Okay, so it is episode 2. Fair enough. So we don't know what this is. Problem is that all of the tracks say Chris Geddes, Pix One OST, Biomes, ... I can't see the rest of it, so I have to go with my gut as to what to play. Okay, this one. Oh yeah, this is the previously, by the way. Yeah. This was the final frame from before. We have the teacher telling her to answer the question as to what her name actually is. And then everyone's like, you know, urging her on because these are not her friends in the class. So, yeah. Okay, then. Alright. And this is correct, BB. You know, Mute Pilar has been origin Deadpool. Okay, so now we're into the new stuff. So, her name is Arabelle. A beautiful name, isn't it? And who are you? Name's Vincent. If I were you... What? I wouldn't let her sit down on her... I would let her sit down on her seat. Okay, I thought I said it wouldn't for some reason. I mean, okay, I will say as well that yes, the teacher was out of line for the way that he acted, and should have been briefed on the fact that he would probably have a mute student in the class. However, threatening the teacher is not the best solution to that. This is a terrible soundtrack choice, so I'm gonna shift it to something else a little bit more calm. Let's say. Now you know what? I just have to rename all of these files because there's no way I can pick the right one. This one. That's the theme. That's the intro. Sure. Okay. All right then. I'm gonna do it in like 3 seconds or something. Well, what's the problem with it? Tell me what the problem is, and then I can do something about it, maybe. position and put stereo audio on, so I don't know. There you go, something like that. If you're at peace, does that mean that, okay, there we go. I was about to say. Honestly, I just waited a few seconds. So, I'm on stereo audio now, so let's see if that was something to do with it. I don't know. I could see it, like, moving, like, the green thing, showing there was, like, sound input. Where it's from, I have no idea. And yeah, of course I'm quiet now, because I just made sure that it was loud, it was quiet enough for everyone. Okay, there we go. Alright, well, normally I have it somewhere around here. That one mute video, more like. Okay. Before I lose my job. Your job? What do you mean? What do you mean your job? What job? Oh, last episode he promised that, like, he was, that he would, like, protect her at all costs for the, you know, until the day he dies, but that was kind of it. Like, is that the job he means? Because that's not going to mean anything to Mr. B. So, not sure what that's about. If I'm quiet in comparison to the music, guess what? Boom, turn down the music. Problem solved. Okay, got it. And Arabelle, if he calls you trouble, tell me. Go to you are a sit. Go to you are sit. Oh, jeez. Okay. Let me just quickly do a thing. Okay, yeah. I see, like, random spikes that it does sometimes. Again, I'm sorry, I legitimately have no idea what's happening. What is that sentence? Yeah, that sentence made my head hurt. Probably not as much as my audio did to you lots, but close enough. Anyway, so now it seems like CuteSpud has learnt how to do thought bubbles versus speech bubbles. And so Mal says, please sit next to me in, you know, his head. And then Flair says, and then Flair says she's creepy, but out loud. Okay. Yeah, don't really know. Okay, class, so let's continue. She's staring at you. Ew. How can Tomoe tell that Arabelle is staring at Flair from that perspective? She's in between them. What? The worst room is from authority figures who insist they talk. Well, she's mute, so she won't talk back. Alright. Okay, class, you may head over to lunch. What are they talking about? Okay, how could she not... Oh, I guess the... Okay, Mal, in order to whisper from that far away, would have to project loud enough for Arabelle to hear, just scientifically. Come on. That reminds me of a Team Flare grunt from Pokemon. That might be the inspiration. If that's such a clear, like, comparison to you, then yeah, that is a very high chance of that, considering how unsubtle a lot of the Gacha community was in the early days. Yeah, that's probably fairly accurate, yeah. Okay, I guess Tomoe gave her like a few seconds to talk and then didn't. I mean, ultimately, what did Arabelle do at this point? All she did was, like, you know, as far as they're concerned, is not respond to a question, because no one, not even Vincent clarified to the teacher that she was mute. Like, this is a case of communication kills, the TV trope. You know, where, like, he simply could have said, oh, Arabelle is mute, or Arabelle could have written down, I am mute, on her notepad, which is how you know she communicates. You know, there were a number of ways to solve, like, why people think that she's weird, but all that happened was that she didn't respond to a question. That's not that weird. They could presume that she was shy or something, and that was it. Like, this feels, like, I know that reasons for, you know, picking on someone, you know, bullying them or whatever are flimsy at best, but this feels like a jump too far, even by bully standards. And that's saying a lot. Yeah. Hey, have you heard that mute? Well, okay, so they do know she's mute. What are the rules here? Like, do they... And also, who is this? This is a new character, apparently. She looks like a oh, I guess they're addressing the hair. I heard she's cut. You heard that she's cursed, but you have gear cogs in your eyes. Like, not gear cogs, those are two different things. You have gears in your eyes. What do you mean? Who's the real cursed one here? You're watching too much Rick and Morty with Revolio Clockworth Jr. as the main character. I'd rather date a rat. Well, a rat would probably take you over Arabelle. She has standards. Anyways, Crystal, you're so pretty. Gearcog is like saying naan bread. Or chai tea, I suppose, in the same vein. Anyway, so Crystal, yeah, thanks. So again, new character, I suppose. Not to be confused with other pink girl that was Tomoe from before. Watch where you're going. Watch where you going, you stupid mute. Watch what you saying, you stupid illiterate. Oh my goodness. Hold on a second. Yeah, I can see it like... I can see it like doing its thing. I don't know. I'm just gonna poke it. Oh, I thought that would work. That sometimes works. Yeah, that didn't do much. We got cartoonishly punched. Yeah, sorry about that. Again, that's all I thought to do in this case, you know, the classic adage of hit technology to see if it works. I'm gonna refresh the page and see if that does anything. Let's see if that will, you know, not cause the end of the stream. Right, anyway, so, you know the worst part about this, is the fact that, like, when you join on StreamYard, it, like, it like tells you with your audio settings, like, you know, before you join the studio, there's like a page, and part of it says your mic is working. It's like, don't I know it? Don't I know it? Try switching the mics back and forth. Sure, okay. Get ready to hear what my webcam sounds like for a second. Yeah, no, it's not. That's not working. All right. Cable's twisted, or yeah, I don't know. Okay, I just messed around with some cables. That did something. Yep, okay, fine. Just push a bunch of cables. There we go. I knew hitting something would work. it was the cables I needed to hit, not the not the actual. And now I gotta plug in my computer because it's low battery. Let's see what fresh inferno that causes. Shall we? Okay. You know, I wonder if Inferno is actually you know, on list of YouTube's demonetizable words, because that seems like a safe alternative. Might start saying that more. Packs more of a punch than heck, let's say. Just leave it at that. Might need to take notes from the mute girl. Wouldn't that be interesting? I just do an entire stream with the audio off, and I have to guess what I'm saying about the video. Things were too close, and so the science stuff running through the cable started to conflict. You mean electricity? What's that? You lot love to talk about the background of this, by the way. Like, I come down here, and there's like something fresh waiting for me every single day. Because bear in mind, this is a room that like everyone in the family uses to some extent, and mostly for laundry drying purposes when it's, you know, cold outside. So, yeah. Apart from this, by the way, like, this printer normally lives like where I am right now, so a lot of the time I move it to start stream. Yeah. As far as grey and green, you mean like all the way back there? Yeah, pretty sure it's a blanket. Anyway. Right, what was I saying? Oh yes, video, that's right. We were watching something, weren't we? Let's pay attention to that. Oh wait, oh. Nope, that was the wrong video. What was that, my first, like, in the list of things? Don't get that. Yeah, boom shakalaka indeed. Okay, let's change the music too. You know, you got bored from this track. Let's try and find something else. Oh my goodness, I was about to say I'm gonna click until I find Pixelmon Waltz. This is Pixelmon Waltz. Okay. Turn that up a little bit now. Did that with the Spanish if you'd love Engantha. You did some Spanish. You had no clue what you was. Okay, yes. For April Fools, I did that once. Okay. Technically speaking, that was like a probably. I was saying review stuff just in Spanish. Like, I was doing the thing, technically speaking. Anyway, where are we? You know, he lost his job, which he doesn't have officially. Yada yada. Etc, etc. You heard this, she's cursed apparently, and here we go. So, yeah, past this point, Ryan with his fists in the air, like, I'm so mad I'm not gonna look at you. I know, Gacha Studio poses. I say that every time. Also, what's up with Joe's hat? Joe needs a new hat. Anyway. Well, are you gonna apologize? Oh, there you go. Now she finally uses it. Honestly, she should actually have like you know, like a couple of defaults. Like there's like a page for yes, a page for no, a page for I'm sorry, or could you repeat that, stuff like that. You know, like everyday sentences that you would like think someone would need. That'd be a good idea. Because if it's an entire notepad, there's no point, you know, writing out a different thing every single time. Which might be why she was able to, you know, hand something in that quickly. Okay, so he hits the notepad. I don't need your apologize on paper. I don't need your What you need is a grammar lesson, my friend. But also, why would that not be... Why would it be an issue that's in writing? Like, this is a thing that they... I guess, like... that, you know, the people say, oh yeah, this predates a bunch of, you know, the gacha tropes. Like, this is a thing that happens all the time. Where like, you know, someone picks like a very like non-issue and then just like exacerbates everyone's possible reaction to it. Like, again, bullies might, you know, try to, you know, amplify this kind of idea, but not a random person that has never heard of her, presumably. Because otherwise he wouldn't be saying that you wouldn't need her apology like on paper, because he would know that she's mute, so he must not have heard all the rumors, which means that, again, he's just being a jerk for no reason. And that very rarely actually happens in this way. Like, it's just the case where people feel like there's a need for, like, every single human on the planet to dunk on a person for being different. Which, again, is another thing I tried to, like, counteract in The Mutant Girl. I made sure that Mowena's first reactions were positive, so to then contrast with the negative ones that would come later. And also because, you know, it would have helped if I had extras at the time, that would have been better, but, you know, whatever. So that's why I'm like... so that's the issue for me, was the fact that, you know, in this kind of story, it's always the case that, like, oh, everyone must hate them. There's no room, apart from, like, the one person that takes the chance of them, and that's usually the romantic partner. It's like, no, you know, that can be the case. A romantic partner will, you know, look past, you know, your perceived flaws in the eyes of society. That's fantastic, but they don't have to be the only person, is my ultimate thing. I guess there's also the aunts from episode 1, and of course Vincent, but again, it feels like we're supposed to note the exceptions, and Vincent's probably, because I think that she blushed at the time, is probably like a whole romance thing that's going to happen, most likely. It seems so imposed. Most people do not care if you're mute unless you're a random teacher. This conflict is not common. Yeah. Yeah, like I said, exactly. There you go. Anyway. Say it to my face. Nee. Say it to my face. Why does he have to... What, is he trying to do like a... Is he trying to be like a pro wrestler or something? You won't apologize to me. You better say it to my face, brother. And just like... Puts his... Ah. And yes, Crystal channeling her inner pop. Yeah. Which ultimately shows you how far back the issue of the default pose goes. Right to the beginning. As a password editing, first can start bullying for no reason. That's because bullies were bullying because I'm half blind. Yeah, so when I mention like bullies particularly, yes, they will exaggerate stuff on purpose. But, you know, I mean, I obviously don't know your life, but I would imagine that if you were to meet like a random person who has no prior knowledge of you or reason to bully you, most likely, you know, if they're a decent human being, they're not going to immediately be like, you know, I don't even know what you would say in that situation, quite frankly. But they wouldn't say it. So that's what I'm ultimately getting at here. But yes, like I'm yeah, and I will say as well, like that, you know, that there have been years of my life, like, you know, non-consecutive years where I was the subject of a lot of bullying, weird enough it never happened, because there's like 1 year of school was like terrible, the next year was fine, and then like sometime in the later that would become like a whole different school and terrible again, and then fine again. I don't know what happened there, but there you go. Schoolboys work on a domino effect. If someone starts, that becomes the norm. Yeah, exactly. Someone has to start this. It's a first day. So if multiple people are starting things at different times, that's also equally unlikely. Also, it seems that Joe and Crystal have heard of her as well. You guys go to the cafeteria. I'll catch up. Okay, so Crystal, I guess, is gonna be like the supportive friend who is going to meet her on the first day. Despite the fact that we already have Vincent and that other guy whose name I've forgotten in a friendship group, which kind of negates the narrative necessity for this character archetype. Which, that being said, I do like the fact that it's here in that case, because that means that we are getting more positive influences, rather than just the ones that would be the bare bones necessary ones. Obviously my possibility was high, told me to shoo. Like the mean kind of shoo with the middle finger. Oh, right, I see. Plot twist, Chris been undercover super pop this entire time. I was going to mute girl and end with a song, and straight to the point. See, a super pop would actually be able to sing and potentially, like, cure somebody's mutism just by, and like, you know, have them join in on the song. If we're going by Totally TV logic, that would be the conclusion. If we're going by like a Johnny or Eli thing from back in the day, then it'll be over in 2 minutes. Hello, I'm Crystal. Nice to meet you. I'm sorry about them. Arabelle's expression right now matches mine perfectly the first time that I ever, like, got, like, asked to do a fist bump. Because it's like, someone puts like their fist in front of you, it's like, okay. It's awkward at first. We do love to see it, but I also love the reaction, yeah. Right. Again, let's change the music a bit. We've had enough of this. This one's normally good for nighttime, but, you know, we'll, pretend for now. It's okay. Okay, why does she open her mouth to speak in that case? Normally the issue is Gacha characters not doing that. Like here, for example, Crystal's not doing that. But meanwhile, she fully opened her mouth just to emphasize what was on the notepad. The emphasis really does seem backwards here. Anyway, what made you mute if you don't mind me asking? And we have already... Okay, so now it seems she's put it together. Because when Vincent asked this question in episode 1 as a child, she hadn't worked it out. Even though, again, I mentioned in the words of Guru Lockhart, it was pretty obvious. But now I guess we're getting like an actual flashback. And maybe potentially, hopefully what I was asking before, which was why is it that people blame her for this incident? I don't know. The first victim must have been someone who documented that someone's going to throw the first part reconsidered halfway through and the rest was history. It's like one of those cartoon moments or something where somebody's like going like fully and then like reaches the person, then suddenly like they halt, and then that's it. That was probably the reason the fist was hanging in the air in the first place, and then someone took the bait. Yeah, you go. It was a bit of that flower crown with those colors. I guess you could try to make it in Gacha Life too, but it wouldn't be the same. Yeah, I do wonder. Yeah. Once I eventually do my video exploring Gacha Studio, then I will hopefully I will try and remember to use that flower crown for some reason. I'm sorry to hear about your daughter. Okay, so let's go just rewind this again. Okay, so yeah, they're playing in the snow right now. All right. Is it any coincidence that there's two sisters and that Arabelle sounds like Arendelle? Dunno. Anyway. So the police are coming here after this point. Oh, so if she doesn't, like, say anything to the police after what happened, they're gonna think that she has something to do with the event. I pray for your family. What a weird thing to say afterwards. I pray for your family. Like, okay. Anyway. Good luck editing Gacha when you get to checking it out. That is ultimately the challenge, for sure. Anyway. Okay. I just read the sentence there. I hope they don't find out that we killed her. First of all... Why would you say this out loud? Why would you be like, okay, my accomplice in the presumed murder that just happened, in a car crash, I suppose, I hope they don't find out that it was us, you and I, the people that, you know, did the murder, which I'm saying to you in the full confidence of, like, the thing that we both know that we did. Which was the murder. Like, what? Okay, and second, in the first episode, going back to that again, we saw how the narration said that people blamed her, and then that was the moment that, like, we saw, like, the parents for the first time walking away from her. The clear implication from the visuals being that the parents were the first to blame Arabelle for what happened, and therefore they walked out of her life, and that's why she lived with her aunt. That was the first, you know, proper, like, you know, thing we saw. So I guess that means that the opening narration basically lied to us. And this might have been like a spur of the moment change of mind, because bear in mind, I forgot to mention this episode came out one day after the first one was written, which, given that we're not in the era of script writing yet, implies that this was done very quickly without much thought to it, as was the first episode, which means in that case that there was not a clear path in mind for this, and this is probably a retcon as far as we're considered, and it's very clumsily exposited here, which means that they might have decided to, like, you know, remove her voice instead of, like, be the source of trauma like we've been saying up until now. And that's why she can't tell anyone, even though she could easily write it down. That's not the logic, so I don't even know. Thirdly, as Bond said here, roses are red, cacti are prickly. Holy cow, that's going to quickly. And fourthly, as was what Bond wanted me to do, red cons, they're bad for me and you. Red cons, next time think your story through. There we go. Alright, back to the music. It was an accident. We left her on a hot car. They left her not in a hot car. On a hot car. They were like, hey, hey, Belle, want to sit here for a second? That's... Was that what killed her, or did she fall off the car or something? Was that what... They tied her to the roof not very well, apparently. They need to do a couple more knots, I think, and that would have been fine. Oh, no. Can you do your song? Yeah, sure, do your song, yeah. Maybe let's sit on the car, then tie it down and set it on fire from the inside. She slowly burned. I suppose, but like, it feels like a lot of work in that case. But okay. Forget seagulls. We're dying. Are they like a Christmas tree, honey? She fell off the. There are so many reasons this doesn't work. Also, wow, Johnny, you joined at the wrong time, apparently. Oh, no. And yes, go ahead and do your song, Ghost Kitty. Whichever song that may be about infanticide. Did she hear? Why are you asking the dad? You can just ask her, did you hear? Child that is in the room currently. Why does everyone think that she's deaf? She isn't. Oh, right, okay, yeah. The red flags edition. Okay, fine. Red flags, they're bad for you and I. Red flags, next time call the FBI. There you go. The cable on top was so strong. It wasn't. It definitely wasn't. It was many things, but strong was not one of them. Unless it was tied incorrectly. Hera, don't tell anyone, okay? They just moved it down to the basement to continue the conversation. This always happens when, like... this always happens whenever we get to, to get to, or like, in media where there's a conversation that happens and then like it cuts away and then suddenly it continues in like a different location. Alright. Okay, so apparently this is the trigger warning, because we are at the final scene now, I suppose. So I'm guessing, given that the whole like violent thing happened from this episode, yeah, I can imagine where this is going. And if anyone is uncomfortable with that, please, you know, look away now. Alright. Officer, you gotta understand, we double knotted. Good grief. She keeps saying mum. Oh, okay, so this is the whole stitching mouth thing. Right. First of all, a child would not sit there so quietly while you stitch their mouth shut. Like, you're not restraining her at all in this case. And yes, I am critiquing this mouth stitching technique that's going on right now. Second of all, you wouldn't need if you're stitching someone's mouth, you don't put a cloth over the top of it. You can just have the character have like a closed mouth of some kind. Like, do this, and then that's it. You wouldn't have the stitch marks on there, but here's the thing about stitch marks sometimes. Depending on how thin the needle actually is, you know, that would not show up. So apparently she is like the X-Men version of Deadpool. Yes, it would appear so, despite, you know, all of our preconceptions about this. You know, it's all gone out the window now. Okay. To be continued. Okay, that wasn't ultimately the worst as far as, you know, violent scenes go. It was very brief. If this were Nightmare Daycare, you know that scene would be dragged out with, like, the screams of everyone else who was watching and the child in question. You know, I'm here to help. What good is Gacha review if it doesn't give practical and useful advice? Oh, it's getting clipped. Oh, no. Anyway, it's not going to still make me feel sick. Yes, that is true. But also, the implications ultimately, yeah, they come down to if her mouth has been stitched this whole time, because this, bear in mind, is the, is like, in answer to the question, why are you mute if you don't mind me asking? Which in the first episode was, I don't know, which maybe means that CuteSpud, the creator, didn't know. And so now we're in the situation where that the answer was decided, but even a day later, with very little time in order to forget where you were going with the story, this happened, which just baffles me, honestly. Like, if like, when I mention things like, you know, that, where the reason that it's good to have a script all the time, my specific example was that if you were writing like a particular scene of something, and then you like get called away or something, and you come back, you don't know where it was going again, or you don't know another way to refer back to the actual episode itself. But usually, that means that but it's when it's like something as basic as the core premise of your entire show, the reason that the plot gets put into motion. You would think, even if you don't write something like that down, you would at least know what that something was in the back of your head. But yeah, apparently that's not the case. So, right. Can we watch another? That one was short, especially with the tech difficulties. Yeah, I guess we got time. We can watch another one. But I'll give my my thoughts about this one because honestly, this one seems like we're in the danger zone right now. The first episode was like, you know, rough in a couple of areas, which was to be expected. There was that whole issue that was acknowledged by CuteSpud was a mistake with the whole like dialogue thing. Now the question of the description in this one makes sense as to why people thought, how can she eat? So I guess that's why she mentioned that. Well, they mentioned, sorry, but there was a whole rumor that CuteSpud came out as trans, and that was like faked or something like that, and I have no idea. But ultimately, so anyway, that's why CuteSpud confirmed that it was that she didn't have that anymore. Like Arabelle didn't have the stitch anymore. So, like the question is, if that's what like made her become mute, was that the trauma that sealed her mutism? Which seems very similar to the idea that like. Which seems very similar to the idea of like she would develop mutism as the result of like the trauma, which was the very easy solution to this problem. I don't know. And ultimately doesn't really answer the question as well, because the question was, how does she eat? The answer was, oh, she doesn't have that anymore. Okay, but when she did have it, how did she eat then? That's the question now. She clearly did not starve as a child, because she's still alive. Like, come on. And how long was it before the stitch was taken out? I guess it was probably before she met, Vincent and lived with her aunt, so it wasn't that long. So, did she just, like, have the idea that she was conditioned to not speak for the very brief time she had the stitch on? It raises so many other questions. But I guess, ultimately, we'll see if there's any answer to them in the third episode. But ultimately, yeah, this has so far been a disappointing continuation to a promising idea. But yeah, let's see if it recovers itself. And this episode came out on the 28th of June. So once again, a single day later. So CuteSpud was on a daily upload grind at this point. So even I can't talk. You know, it's catching on. So yeah, I guess we'll see. Apparently that's Markiplier's birthday. Well, this is probably not a present that he would have signed off on. But we'll find out. We'll see. You know, every series can have a rough episode. You never know. Actually, before we continue that, let's see if there's any copyrighted songs in here. Oh, okay. So the same questions apply. So, how do anyone knows the stitch? So that was the answered again. How can she eat / drink? Didn't you watch what the dad did? So the dad did something. Chris's eye turned pink. That was a mistake. So again, CuteSpud can notice like some mistakes, which is fantastic. And again, is she deaf? No. So, okay, so, yeah, the music is not, is copyrighted again, so we're going to once again mute this and, boom shakalaka, something or other, yada yada. I'd vote Mark for president, in the Oval Office with Markiplier, new series, lasts for 4 years. And no, I'm not feeling the boom shakalaka. I'd feel the boom shakalaka a lot more if, the second episode didn't disappoint. Okay. Oh my goodness. Okay. So, Taylor's old as time of the alcoholic father cliche, which fun fact actually has been like demonized pretty much like ever since like the prohibition. So a good 100 years by this point. of this being like a whole media thing. But yet again, it's just very seemingly just sneezed at here, and ultimately, usually the issue with like the whole alcoholic father thing is that usually that's because like he's out or something, or like it's affecting his health, or actually like it triggers like some like like abuse of some kind. But yeah, I guess ultimately I've never seen the financial side be complained about. Which, bear in mind, was this the reason that they had to like get rid of one of their children or something? They decided that infanticide was a better option than trying to raise two children at once. I that's the only reason I can think this would be brought up right now. Okay, I guess. Let's see. I don't care anymore. Fine. I'm going to another state to restart. Normally it's, I'm going to my sister's house. I'm going to my insert name of relative here's house. No, I'm going to another state, I guess. Okay. That's Baby on Fire by Module. I don't know the reference, unfortunately. Arabelle with Stay Here, So Does You. I'm sorry, who's the one who's drunk right now? Because, I don't know what you do. I don't know if you heard what you just said there, mother of unnamed origin. Okay. Oh, it's an Asdov movie. Oh, fair enough. I'm not sure if I've seen all of them, actually. I probably missed out on a couple. No excuse to make a mistake for years. It's like, finally, yes, another state. I have a ticket right here. I'm off now. I was having a stroke. What a messed up. Yeah, I mean, you would think that would make more sense than the whole. Well, and bear in mind, one of the children is dead. The other one has had their mouth stitched over a cloth as well, which would only make the stitching harder, by the way. I'm leaving. What? Did he really register that? Also, we don't need a stage direction for throws wine. We can see the wine has been thrown into the air. It is right there in front of us. Why does so many people in the Gacha community assume the audience is blind? If they were blind, how'd they know to click on the video? It has no sound to it. A blind person would not enjoy this content. I mean, I'm not blind, I'm not enjoying it right now, but that's beside the point. Arabelle, stop peeping! Peeping? Okay, this is another thing I found. Unflattering comparison time, but in the what was it, like the Abused Child series by Lily Trescott MSP, another good old classic gacha content creator. Yeah, this was an issue as well because of the lack of, I guess, like props that could also serve as like foreground pieces. Like in your typical like desks or bookcase, etc. So it was just general. So one time, in order to symbolize that a character was hiding, the character in question just decided to squat down, just in the middle of an open space, and that was just accepted as hiding. So I guess in this case, Arabelle was meant to like was meant to be hiding behind something, but I guess again, even though you could very easily do, I guess not really out of frame because it's fixed poses. That's another thing I guess you can't do out of frame so easily. I say without keyframe you can't do out of frame in general for the most part in gacha because there's like a limit to where you can like drag the character. But yeah, it's great the wine bottle doesn't break. What a powerful glass. Indeed, yeah. Alright. Apparently PP wants to join for a bit, so we're going to apparently I got a I got a clip on the Butter Bunch group chat, the most educational channel on YouTube. Oh no. Oh no. Anyway, let's put that in there. if Aiden joins as a surprise again, that would be you know, that'll be fine. Barricades the door. Yep, because again, lack of props, so you couldn't symbolize that. That stage direction makes sense to me. Opens closet because there is no closet, which you would think you can actually pick a background with a closet, I would hope, at this point. Even back then. Who knows? BB's here.
Hello. Yeah, Bon said that you needed a guess, and then when BB go, and so I jumped into action.
Yeah, makes sense to me, I suppose.
I probably won't be here for the whole stream, by the way, guys. I am getting like dinner here in a bit, but I mean, I won't leave though, because if I am back before you're done, then I'll be back anyways. But I won't be here though. But I won't be here the whole continuous stream like I usually am.
I mean, you don't have to rush your dinner because I know that you I know that you like rush it all the time anyway.
No, here's the thing. I hate their dinner schedule. Their schedule, like,
I know you do.
God, man, the weekdays is 5 to 6. On weekends, it's 5 to 5:30. It's so annoying.
That was beside what I said, but you know, good to add that context, I suppose. Okay, again, another stage rush we don't need because we can see her covering the eyes. Yep.
Also, I'm just a rather fast eater.
Okay, how did this? First of all, like, isn't it like a generally like accepted rule in fiction that if a character like dies at a certain age, they appear as that age in the afterlife, except for when they gets retconned in Star Wars special editions. Usually that's the case. So like, why is it that Belle has achieved more or less the same height as Arabelle right now, and has also like actually like. And it's also, I guess, like, also has grown, like, the default, like, sizes that you had in Gacha Studio, because the child does not normally look like this, I'm pretty sure.
So there's two possibilities
that
I can. There's two possibilities that I would assume if I were just casually watching this, which I wouldn't be, but pretend like I would be. Which is one, I don't know, maybe reincarnation exists in this world, and that's just like their natural form, or maybe, or maybe it's one of those things where it's like they were meant to be older and like this was meant to be like their prime state, but then they just never got to grow old.
I'm just imagining the idea of like reincarnation being existing in a universe, and then someone like dying and then seeing their spirit form, and then it's like, wait, what the heck? Who am I? Why do I look like this?
Well, I always kind of assumed that like if reincarnation exists and you aren't just assuming it's one of the interpretations, you aren't just immediately brought back, then maybe it's the idea of like, oh, maybe you have all the memories.
I guess, but like, I mean,
because like it's your spirit, I would assume once you're dead, it's like, well, you just remember everything now.
Oh, so like all of your memories from all of your past lives return to you all at once.
Yeah, and then you get reincarnated again, and it's wiped out again. But
man, the poor Avatar, jeez. That's
well, I mean, to be fair, there's a lot of different concepts of reincarnation. To be fair, there's a lot of different versions of that.
Yeah. I haven't heard that one, probably for that reason, but yeah.
My preferred version, and I don't know if this is grounded in any kind of spiritual practice, but if reincarnation exists, and I almost kind of wish it does, but in this very specific way, if it doesn't, I'll be greatly disappointed when I'm dead, assuming there's anything afterwards. Which is that I want it to be like whenever you're dead, there's like a button that you can press and you can choose to come back. Because I imagine like eternity, it would be like torture after a certain amount of time. And you'd be like, yeah, let's just do it all again. But I don't want it to be like, but I don't just want to be brought back immediately. Like I want to have my own afterlife as well,
Okay, so what you're suggesting is that is that you can hopefully that would include the idea of like you be able to press the button at any time, right? You don't have to like
Yeah.
make the decision like in the moment. Like it's like
No, it's not like it's not like a red blue pill situation. It's like, oh, I've been dead for like 1,000 years. I gotta be honest. I don't have anything left to do. I'm really bored. Let's go have some fun and live for another 60 years or whatever.
Siamese. Yeah. Eternity sounds great to me. It depends what it has to offer, actually.
I don't know.
If there's like a good deal for you as far as like, you know, like honestly for me, you know, if there was like you know, a ability to you know, continue to you know, create stories, possibly, you know, distribute them amongst
that's one of my
potentially,
greatest fears
like
about death. Actually, I don't even really fear death. I fear loss of art. I don't necessarily mind the concept of dying because I am confident enough in an afterlife, but I don't want to lose the books.
Mm-hmm. Wait till there's literally nothing else to do. That is also true, yeah. That if you like, if there's like, you know, like loss of like, you know, the fact that you know can't like hear like other people's stuff is that if you if you don't have like, you know, other people's, you know, art or books, something, there's no way to like possibly like even like observe the rest of the world or something. I don't know.
Right, like
just binge watching different like, you know, afterlife streaming services. Can you imagine? Yeah.
I mean, you know, that's kind of why I also kind of like the Egyptian concept, where it's like, because the whole concept of like the mummy's curse is grounded in the belief that, and this is why there's so much like relics and stuff inside of pyramids, which is that it's a tomb and it's all in there, and the idea is that all of that would be like spiritually sent through with them. And so whenever it's stolen, it's not like stealing from like a dead person. You're literally just taking from their house in the Duat, you know?
Well, yes, but also bear in mind, even if you have that of all of that stuff, that's a finite amount of things you can take with you, and therefore that implies you don't get offered other things when you're already there, which means that you will eventually get bored of that.
No, I know. I'm just saying that it leans a little bit closer to that concept.
Mm-hmm. If I die before Jacob, I'll haunt you for eternity. Well, apparently I'm in your head, so I guess it was only fair, you know?
Yeah.
Which all Jacob Buttervids from start to
right.
that would ultimately be the torture right there. You know, all 2.1 thousand Jacob Butter videos. Yeah, no, that's
that's what God does. Imagine that. Imagine whenever you're dead and you have the whole concept of like, oh, it'll be judgment day, right? You'll be judged for all your deeds, and they pull up YouTube.
You'll be judged for all of your past actions. So there's a bit. So there's this thing here you say in Crazy Craft episode 2 from 2015. No.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, Flowerpot. I
mean, you say God, but quite frankly, you know, depending on which religion you what religion you subscribe to, might be the other guy doing that stuff, you know.
Yeah. Flowerpot, I am aware of what the scripture says. First off, I'm not Christian, but we're going to disregard that aspect. And I'm just going to say, from a conceptual level, I have always thought that the Christian concept of heaven sounds like hell. I think the idea of eternal happiness is just the most nightmarish concept to me. It is like it's no worse than the concept of burning for eternity.
Wasn't that like the plot of We Happy Few?
Maybe. I got into it whenever it first started, but I never really got super into the lore, so I don't really know.
Okay, well, mechanically, does that seem to be the case?
Yeah, but it's just kind of that thing where it's like, yeah, happiness is nice and all, but I have to have spice, you know? That's why I've always been like, you know, if there's something afterwards, like, I already know the first thing that I want to do. Well, besides meeting all my, you know, old friends and stuff. Which would be, I'd love
assuming
to
that
go
they're there as well. Which is another thing as well. Yeah, it's another thing as well, because then there's like, oh wait, you know, so who can I see again? It's like, oh, I get to see such and such person. Like, ooh, I don't know about that.
Yeah, that's the riskiest game. Whenever you
most of my close friends are LGBT. What am I gonna do?
No, right, and that's the riskiest thing whenever you talk about religion, right? Because there's so many because every religion has its own criteria for what puts you in the good place and bad place, whatever those two places are usually.
Yep.
And then you have like the Greek concept where it's not even just a single bad or good place. There's also like a really good place and like a medium neutral place.
Yeah. Well, even the medium neutral place doesn't sound that good, quite frankly, because you just wander around there as a spirit with like no like aim or direction, or even like memory of yourself in some cases.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on who, like, the writer, but yeah. But, like, it's still, like, it's not as bad as something like
In Fallen
Tartarus,
Angel, that's
though.
what happens.
You know, like, it's better than the Boulder.
Well,
You know,
yes, I
because at least
suppose.
then you get to still, like, hang out with people.
Hmm. Do you
Um,
think Techno has a meet and greet in the afterlife? Uh, depends. How many of those did he do like in life, actually? Because that would.
not too many, because and the only reason I say that is because it was a big misconception for a while that, like, he never did a face reveal. And the truth is, we did see his face a few times. He just didn't do it often. And I feel like that would be non-existent as a misconception if he were going out in public more often.
Yeah, although it depends. In some cases, you can control the form that you take in the afterlife. He might just like morph into
That's
his
true.
like pigskin.
My God, I don't think he would. To be totally honest with you, it's like that sounds cool on paper, but that sounds horrifying when you really think about it in a non-blocky, non-2D like pixel nature.
Look,
That's a horrifying look.
Look, you know, if he can control it, then he can presumably reverse it, right? He's not stuck that way. Anyway, my donation, if you repent and believe in Jesus and try to live like him, that's the criteria for getting to heaven, which is fair, but then we also go back to what we said about the concept of heaven and why that might not be so good ultimately, depending on how your point of view. Yeah.
And also, I that's also the thing where it's like, there's that, but there's also the fact of like, I don't know how fair it is. Again, disregarding the philosophical and religious aspects, I don't know how fair it is to be like a guy that you've never met and will not prove himself to you. You have to believe in him regardless, and that's the only way to get in. It's like, well, I need some receipts, you know? That's part of actually why, well, not why, but that's part of how I got my footing in a lot of my more religious practices, because they don't have that hindrance of like, you have to believe in them first. It's like, hey, you can take these signs as you will, and it's like, okay, cool. If they exist, then they exist. If they don't, then whatever. You know, like you don't lose anything.
That's a nice idea. Yeah. Ultimately, I think one of Christianity's biggest strengths is the fact that it has like so many like teachings that can you can use and like apply to your life to be a better person, regardless of whether or not you believe that they are real or not.
Yeah.
But then of course they have the whole like believe or else thing, so that kind of like counteracts.
There's also bad teachings as well, like women can't can't talk, right? And it's like, well,
I didn't say all the teachings were good.
I know. I'm just saying.
Thank you, question mark here.
Yes.
Speaking of women who can't talk.
Hey.
Yeah. Okay, so she covered her eyes, but yet Belle was there. Did she feel her presence? He's also slamming a door, which implies that he's shutting it, but the motion is him kicking the door down. What? Ara, come out, wherever you are. I'm going straight towards your hiding place, so I presume you already know where you are. Oh, never mind. Where might she be? I wonder if he's like actually playing hide and seek with her right now in his own twisted sort of way. Like I mentioned a couple of videos ago how most children are terrible at hide and seek because they keep giggling all the time, and you have to pretend that you don't know where they are.
Yeah, it's also kind of like my youngest nephew is still in like the big peekaboo phase. And so whenever I know he's like behind me or whatever, hiding, quote unquote, I'm like, where is he? And I look around everywhere except for obviously behind me. And then he'll like pop out behind me and like do a little like jazz hands. He gets in front of me, go, and I'm like, oh, there he is.
Yeah.
Honestly, and then he starts laughing hysterically before going behind me again.
Honestly, if that were me with my cousin, I would one of those times just like walk backwards and pretending that I don't know, and then just like very lightly collide. Like not to the point of like actually harming her, but
No.
Yeah. Then again, she does that to herself all the time. Like honestly, she hurts herself more than like anyone else possibly ever could.
I think that's the case for every human. That's how we learn, Jacob.
Yeah, but the problem is it's been many years.
Oh, I think at that point she's just clumsy. He is a cousin. That's kind of a neutral. They.
Yeah, but it's a she. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Until stated otherwise, I guess. I haven't really had that conversation yet.
Sure. Yeah.
Do you want to play with me, lovely girl, lovely girl? Yeah. All right. We have the closet with his mouth hanging wide open. Okay, you know what? I'll say this. Despite the fact it's a 4x3, yeah, it's a decent shot. Despite the fact that it's 4x3 for some unknown reason, I like the way that it's actually composed. And, for once, there's a Gacha studio character who's able to be hid behind something. And not to mention as well, I believe that that's, you know, that's got to be a customly sourced thing because of the fact that there's no doors like this in anything.
Oh, Vaughn, you're so right. This is like Mandela catalog coded.
Fair enough. Let's play some games today. Funny games. I still struggle with vibrato even to this day.
Yeah. Also,
Anyway.
just because I find it funny. I love how Flowerpot talks about their religion, then dips as soon as it's over.
I'll go make my breakfast. It's like, well, I mean, ultimately,
breakfast. Man, you are on a whole other end of the world.
Yes, Australia to be precise.
Is it? Man, I didn't realize Australia was that far off on the time zones.
I mean, if you think about, most, geographically, like a whole.
I'm American, Jacob.
Yes, and it's a whole diagonal from you. That's what I'm saying.
I don't know geography. They don't teach it.
What do you mean? Okay, well, I mean, I will say that, I guess, I'm trying to remember from, like, elementary school, as opposed to the only geography that I kind of learnt there was, I guess, a very vague look at the world, and mainly US geography, so I guess that tracks. But, depending on whether or not that extends past elementary school, was my only frame of reference.
I don't know very many Americans that know geography that well. We are aware of some places that exist that are not America, but even those we don't know where they are. In a lot of places in America, we don't even know where they are.
I will say, Americans' ignorance of geography might have potentially, like stopped the Cold War from escalating for like 50 years.
I love the idea that in the battlefield, they're like, "Where's the next battle, General?" I was like, "I don't know. I've been everywhere."
No, but the thing is that because like when I studied about the Cold War, what I learned was that but like part of the reason that it never escalated further is because of the fact that if it did between the US and the USSR, that would have meant like that Europe would have been caught in the crossfire. It's like, no, they wouldn't necessarily. The US and Russia are neighbors. All you have to do is turn the globe a bit, look at the Pacific Ocean, and then suddenly you realize like, oh, wait a minute. Like, for crying out loud, the Cuban Missile Crisis happened because Cuba was very obviously close to the US. On the Atlantically based like globe thing, and everyone's like, that was like the biggest tension moment. It's like, it's just as bad. What do you mean? Like, okay, yes, fine. Most of Russia is like Siberia. Mostly no one lives there. Fine, I get that. It's still a neighboring country, okay?
Yeah. Anyway. Bon, I don't know any Canadian provinces. To be totally honest, and this is where my American ignorance comes in. Actually, I don't even really know what a province is.
It's another fancy word for like a stretch of territory. It's like saying like counties over here or states for you. Yeah.
Wait, hold on. Wait, oh my God. Wait, is county and states like fish and chips to us and you? Because we have counties.
Well, okay, yeah, but that's the only like different classifications that we have. That's because we're not big enough to have like separate states in the same way that like, the US does. So the only divisions that we have are the counties. That's what I mean.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still don't know any.
I guess
but...
a better example is that Spain does have very defined. Spain has provinces and autonomous regions. Like, an autonomous region is a collection of different provinces sometimes, or sometimes a single province is a single autonomous region. That's a whole other matter. That was my geography lessons from, later on in school. Immediately after learning US geography was the Spanish geography next. Which is why to this day I missed out on most of the lessons that will like tell me where all of the different like UK counties are. So sometimes people mention like, oh, I went to such and I was like, great, I don't know.
Yeah, I went to Europe.
But I know where Australia is at least.
Yeah, I know Australia has very dangerous animals, and that's about it. Bon says, wait, where was it?
The US has dangerous animals too. There's the citizens.
Did not. It's true. Yeah, Australia has spiders that go.
We
into
mentioned
schools.
Technoblade earlier. I have a feeling that he would have made that joke.
It's true. He probably would have. But no, Bond says we only differently call them provinces because territories exist. We have territories. We do have that. Like Hawaii, for instance, is one. We don't really talk about it much in school. But we do own the place. Much to Hawaiian's displeasure, might I add. We really messed that place up. But
I will also say that, Hawaii is one of the 50 states, that's like kind of.
Yeah, but it's not really viewed that way though. We don't really respect it as a state.
Well, I guess a better example would be Puerto Rico, I guess, because that's a territory, but sometimes included on some maps of the United States, even though it isn't a state, which confused me a lot as a child.
Canada is a weird one. That's like that. That's always on maps, but we don't really like it. I get it's close, but I don't think we own Canada.
I always confuse your cities and states. Like if I was calling Detroit a state.
Well, to be fair, here in America, right, relative to a lot of the world, is that our cities are your states.
You mean like in terms of size and scale?
Yeah.
I mean, okay, yeah. And sometimes they're named after the states themselves. That's why you get places like New York, for example.
God, I hate it. Yep.
Or sometimes even worse, Oklahoma City. Well, actually, Oklahoma is another thing because Oklahoma City was, that was it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's absolutely a thing.
Yeah. What others can I think off the top of my head? Kansas, I think, because Kansas City is also a thing.
Yeah, I think that's also yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think we have a Texas City. Thank God, or gods, but
no one could agree on which one would be Texas City. Yeah. I had a funny song about America to remember all the states.
We got
actually,
songs.
Yes, I will say in elementary school they did actually have a song to remember the state. Well, I say to remember the states. It was it was one that first of all didn't rhyme, and secondly the catchy part was before you list all the different states, so it wasn't really properly functional.
Well, I will say I never found the songs a very good teaching tool for me. That just never really did the trick. But for the record, the only song that I remember about those were not ones that I got in school. It was from the other children's show that I referenced the other day that I now forget the name of, but it's where they pull down. It starts with a Y, right? I think I thought it was yokai or whatever, and it wasn't. It's where they have the big stick and they start like pointing out all the places, and there's a lot of memes about it.
Okay, first of all, I'm pretty sure that's the countries, not the states that you're referring to.
No, it's oh wait, yes.
Second of all, that was the show that you're talking about is called Animaniacs. It's not called Yokai. You're thinking of the character who sings that song, whose name is Yakko.
Yes, that is yes. No, because Yakko's World, I think.
Yeah,
I believe that's what the song is
in
called.
The world. It's because he's pointing out like the nations of the world. And there have been, of course, several updated, things to do with that because, obviously those nations have changed.
Yeah. New places exist and others no longer do. But
and others have changed their names. Germany now in one piece doesn't really make any sense anymore to most people. So yeah.
Germany now one piece. But no, it's. Yeah, I like the song, but to be clear, I feel like it's a very similar situation where if you were to give me a song about like the American states, because it's so many that there's no way you can cleanly fit them all in for me to actually remember all of them.
I actually made a parody of that song many years ago. I think it was 27. Yes, I think it was 2017. So what I did was
I don't think I've heard this. Did you ever release it?
Yes. So what I used to do was because it's like over here it's a traditional thing that you'll send like Christmas cards to like everyone, and ultimately like as a child that bored me to tears. And I was the only person made to do that as well because it's a very much so like a UK thing, so no one in Spain cared about that. So then I realized, wait a minute, instead of doing this, I can just do one video in one go, just like saying Merry Christmas to like everyone that I know, and that would be the Christmas card for that year. And then I realized after hearing Yako's World, wait a minute, there's a song where I'm listing a bunch of things. I'm gonna combine the two, and I'm gonna list everyone that I know in the to the tune
That's
of Yako's
amazing.
World.
Can we get like a remake of that, except it's like your current circle?
Potentially, yeah. I stopped doing like a lot of Christmas projects for varying reasons, but I can bring that one back for sure.
Sure.
Uh,
It's because Jacob decided he's now Jewish. He doesn't like Christmas. It's not a thing anymore.
well, I mean, well, I mean, we did have the Mutant Go Christmas special last year, but there was some chaos in the
Sure.
chat. Yeah. Not too much, I suppose. Just talking about one of my old parodies. I'm
It's the same kind of randomness that you get whenever I join a stream.
yeah. I might play that or link that like after after we finish the video. So stick around for that in case you're on the fence about continuing the stream, and I'll provide a link to it afterwards. Because if I provide it here, it's gonna get copyrighted. Okay. Anyway, so Ara, where are you? There you are. I have to remove that stitch before anyone finds out. Again, how long does she have the stitch on for? Because that's very unclear. It seems like... I don't know.
I greatly question this. It's because just a second ago, in case you don't, I know it was like in his hurry to go whenever we were last watching the video, but if we recall, one of the last few things that he said was like, why didn't you die? And why did she die and not you or whatever? And now he's like, oh boy, let me take out the stitch for you. It's like, that's a little bit out of place.
Yeah. Who turned off the colors?
As I said, it's Mandela catalog coded.
I think it's meant to symbolize that they're like in darkness right now, even though the fact they're surrounded by the void itself would probably be enough of a giveaway for that, but you know, an attempt was made. I'm surprised that the chat, like not the chat, the thought bubble is also like have the color changed, because why for that specifically?
I would agree, but at least we can still read the text.
We're just blending in. I'm not sure. I didn't see that he was missing his beard, but that I don't know. Rips. Stitch remove. Punch. And I guess that glitched. I don't want to talk about. That was an entire that was half an episode length of time to go into. I guess that was just for us. All right then. And now she actually does know, except for the fact we didn't even get to the point where she still doesn't talk after that stage.
No,
so we didn't even answer the question. We spent half an episode of this, like,
Now I can't help but notice that I didn't see the first episode, and I came in thinking that I would be quite lost. I really didn't even intend on keeping the audio on until I saw what was going on in chat. I was like, well, all right, I guess I'm here now. And I gotta tell you, I'm not lost at all, which makes me immediately question what use the first episode was.
Well, to make the rest of it seem confusing by comparison. I felt all of it didn't have context as that now. Oh yeah, I guess it's probably because it was a flashback as well. That was, you know, part of it. Very Kolyoko of it. Anyway, would you like to join our group table?
Such a stupid pose. I see it all the time. I don't know. It's so weird.
Yeah, there was no nodding until Gacha Club, which you think was a huge oversight, but there you go. Anyway, so they're talking. Oh no, it's Tomoe from the class. We already know that Tomoe doesn't like her. Mary's new though.
Bun. Vaughn goes, "What is up with people doing that to her? Girl, stop!" But I saw what is up with people doing that to her. I didn't understand what Bond was talking about. So all I saw was him in capital girl, and there was no stop yet. So it's just him seeing a bunch of women and going, "Girl."
Oh, it's like, oh no, female. What am I gonna do? It's like the whole. Anyway,
Woman.
yes. Crystal, what doing? Just give her a chance, Kay. I'll treat you food. I feel like they would already have gotten food by this point, and paid for it. But okay.
Well, maybe the idea is like, oh, I'll treat you to food. Like, I'll take you to a restaurant or pay for your meal or something.
Maybe, but she said like join our table, which again, no forward
Well,
props.
she could
So
still she could still pay for the meal though. She could like give them their money back.
I guess. I'm not sure if CuteSpud could spell reimburse at this point. XX chromosome spotted. Beep beep. beep. I've never understood like that whole that whole cliche of like, you know, of like male characters in fiction not being able to talk to girls just on like basic principle. It's like what like not if they don't like have a crush on the girl in question, just like in general. It's like, what do you mean?
Here's what I love even more. The fact that for the longest time it was one of two extremes, right? Either the men are incredibly sexist, the women have horrible representation, they're weak, whatever. All awful stereotypes. And then you have the other end, which is, oh no, woman can't look at her either. I can't look at her, otherwise I die.
Oh my goodness. No one is as socially confident as you, but yeah, okay, sure, but that feels incredibly selective, right? Like in those cases, like the guy characters will usually have like a wide circle of guy friends, or at least like one other guy friend, bare minimum. But the second a girl shows up, that's it, they're done. Like what are the rules is my point. I don't know. Like I can understand, you know, because again, going back to elementary school, you know, I was, you know, the odd creature out for having a female best friend.
Odd creature out is an interesting way to refer to yourself.
Yeah, so but okay, fine, whatever. But like, but ultimately that just came down to, I guess, like, you know, most of the boys and girls preferring to hang out with other boys, other girls, but not that they couldn't physically talk to each other if they desired to.
So, okay, admittedly, I don't know if Bond's making this up or if it's just a coincidence.
That's yandere code. That's yandere code.
Well, no, the thing is, I have heard this concept, right, where it's like, oh, the old ball and chain, right, where you like hook up with someone, now you aren't allowed to have friends or whatever, and now your life is like beholden to this woman, right?
Yeah, but it doesn't come from like seeing them usually.
Which I want to point out one thing. Historically, it was the other way around, but also, I know for a lot of media that does that sort of stuff, it's also the concept of like like you're allowed, like, I know they aren't like, oh, you can't have friends with women, right? Like, you can't just be like pals, right? But for the record, you can just be pals with them. Like, you are not required to hook up with every woman you see. Just because she have pretty bahonga does not mean that you need to be like lovers with them every time you see them. Like, you can just be friends. You can go like just hang out.
Yeah, this is a thing that has like followed me for a lot of my life. Because again, that same female best friend in elementary school, there were just tons of people that thought we were dating, like just almost the entire class. And like we kept saying, no, that is not the case. No. And then after the point where like when I actually started like hanging out with my actual crush at the time, no one would bat an eye. but yeah, like, and then afterwards, like many years later, different, you know, like secondary school or sixth form, different female best friend, you know, whole different country, in fact, and still there were some people every now and then that'd be like, is something going on between you two? I don't know. And then there's like a whole party as well with the fact that, you know, But the fact that we had such a strong platonic thing going was like an adorable concept to them as well. It's like, what on earth? And people wonder why Rainier and Julius exist. This is why Rainier and Julius exist. All of my life. No one bats an eye, but Jake would bat his eyes at her. No! That's the point!
Well, I mean, the thing is as well...
Oh, wait, no, you're talking about the actual crush part. Yeah, no, that would make sense. Yeah, sorry.
Well, I think it's also the concept of, like, if someone's pretty as well, and you're, like, and you're into them, that you must also be in them, like, romantically, which also isn't always the case.
Yeah, I guess I was also... I was also probably... I didn't ever verbalize this, but I guess I was also probably one of the only children who was like, I can acknowledge another person's beauty without being into them.
Because, no, right?
You know,
where
if someone had asked me if I thought my female best friend was ugly, I would have said no. But that's unrelated.
And also rude to say yes to. Like anyone who's asking that is either trying to lure you into a trap or doesn't deserve the friends they do have.
This is just asking for, like, Jake from, like, in the Music Freaks episode 9 levels of contrived drama. Like, if she got wind of that, friendship over.
Yeah, it's, yeah, but it's like, you know, like, if someone's smoking hot, they can be smoking hot. That doesn't mean that you have to be lovers, you know?
I suppose. Then again, I was not aware of the concept of the idea of something being smoking hot anyway.
That's
so
fair.
Again,
but,
a little bit early. Oh my goodness.
All right.
Anyway, actually, you know what? It even happened on this channel. I did a video with second female best friend, the one from the UK. And one of the messages, it was from Beanie Boy, actually. Beanie Boy himself asked me if she was my girlfriend. I was like, no! Every time. I even said I'm joined by my best friend. Like, how much clearer can I be here? Anyway.
I have a parallel to that.
Video too.
I have a parallel to that's much darker, so we'll go with the tamer of them, which is that you simply can't win with lovers because... sorry, not even lovers, just opposite gender friend. Because it's like if you're friends with them, you must be into them. But also, if they bully you relentlessly, you must be lovers with them. It's like there's no you have to live in a world in which they do not exist in order for you to not be accused of being, you know, romantically attached to them.
Yeah, maybe that was the case. Maybe some of those, like, guy characters I mentioned before were just afraid of the social repercussions of any interaction with anyone female. Maybe that was it ultimately. I don't know.
That is totally a possibility, but that goes into a whole other talk there, you know?
Yeah, I'm also remembering that, like, before you transitioned, you and Shorty just played into the rumors about you so much. Like,
no, we still do.
Yeah.
And we still do, for the record. One of our longest running bits was, and it would be is if we spoke enough still, where it would always start out as, oh yeah, smoochy, smoochy, kiss, love, oh la la, intimate, right? And we're romantic partners, have been for years, high school sweethearts. And then it just slowly turns to, I hate your guts, I want you dead. And then at a certain point it goes to this other, like, recurring bit within the bit where now she's, like, cheating on he is cheating on me with, like, some hobo off the street, and it was unclear whether that was even true or if that was my character just being paranoid.
I feel like that part was probably clear to most people.
But one day Cherry enters the picture, and we were doing the bit, he ended up being retconned into the hobo.
Oh my goodness, okay.
But yeah, it is absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, so this is the other way of doing that, just, like, mess with people. Yeah. Like, if I had the sense of, if I had the sense of humor that I do now, I might have, like, played into it as well. assuming I didn't already have, like, another, like, outstanding crush at the time that I actively did not want to, like, send mixed signals to.
Yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
no, it was a thing where we'd be streaming and you get someone like once every couple streams like, "Oh, were you guys together?" Yeah, man. Yeah, we are. We sure have been for years.
mm-hmm. This is just there's just like a less extreme version of the Shortney wedding. Anyway,
All right, give me a second. I'll be back soon.
okay. Okay, well in that case I'll answer the question. No, there's not a way to fix the quality of the video. Whatever I imported it as is what is in here. Um, it seems like, yeah, the maximum quality of this video was 720p on YouTube, and it's 720p in my file size, so whatever you're seeing on StreamYard might be because of, like, internet stuff. I'm not sure. Anyway, fine, but only just for the food. I don't really care. Oh, okay, I guess Tomoe is a bit more neutral than we thought. Just a tad. Also, I was going to say before, but because there are, to this day, still no decent cafeteria backgrounds in Gacha, like, even now, in the year of our Lord 2024, there are no decent cafeteria backgrounds, and it always haunts me to my very core that we don't have them. But like, I guess we have like an outside eating situation, which is, you know, a nice alternative. You also have to bear in mind that, again, you know, no like table prop and fixed poses of like this whole bus queue thing going on. So this was very much a lose-lose situation here. That being said, you did specify, CuteSpud, that there was that you were doing a table. So I think at this point in the Gacha community, people just kind of like lent into the idea that you would have to like fill in a lot of gaps with your imagination. And I guess that, you know, I guess we've kind of lost that, but honestly, it's a good thing we've lost that because we don't need it anymore because we have the other versions. So I guess this was just a case of, yeah. All right. Then yes, we've already made the neutral and mutant joke because you said that before. Yeah. All right. Do you know Vincent? Mm-hmm. Because I like him. Oh, here we go again. Again, isn't it their first day of school? Did Crystal know Vincent beforehand? And if so, Vincent hangs out with Arabelle all the time. So how did Arabelle not know Crystal if Crystal knew Vincent before now? Unless Crystal's been talking about Vincent non-stop for the entire day, to the point where Tomoe is just tired of the conversation being like everything she mentions since the start of the day. Maybe, but what? Tomoe giving those tsundere vibes. I mean, she does look a bit like Natsuki, so I guess that makes sense. Will you please help me make him fall in love with me? That's the third Gacha tuber that we've seen that spells in love as one word. Why is that such a common thing? Where did that mistake originate from? There must be some like common source that people know about where someone spelled in love as in love, and then people just copied that and thought it was like the truth. Where is that? Is she using her? Well, Tomoe, she's asking for a favor, so on some level, yes. But that's always what happens when you ask for someone for a favor. But she's consenting to it. Well, you might be actually. Depends if she answers yes or no, or not, or shakes her head. You know, whichever. And we're not gonna find out. Goody. So, this ultimately was not as bad as the second episode. It still has, you know, most of it being the flashback was kind of interesting. So, I guess we brought up Shorty before, so I have to say it. This does seem to share a commonality with Taming the Bad Boy, but actually it's a commonality that I actually liked in Taming the Bad Boy. I know there are some things I did like about that series, go figure. And the thing I liked the most about it was the idea that someone will, like, you know, the next episode picks up immediately after the first episode, you know, the episode before wraps up. And that's not like a universal thing. You don't have to do that. You know, time jumps can be very effective. I do them all the time in my stuff. I haven't emulated that thing, apart from in Puppy Love, actually, I did that, because I was deliberately trying to be like Shorty in some ways and not like him in some others. But yeah, like, I like it when that happens, but I'm realizing now that because this was, again, all these episodes were posted, like, one day apart from the one that came before or after it, if that makes any sense. It means that the reason behind that was probably because CuteSpud thought that at some point they got to a point in the video where it was like, okay, I've recorded like enough footage here. This is a cliffhanger. We're cutting here, and then immediately continued afterwards. Which again feels like a good thing for a script that will come in handy. But again, we're not in that period of Gacha just yet. Nor will be for a number of years actually. Really until like Aphmau and to some extent like I came along, I think. Oh no, but people, I know all about using people for favors. Oh my goodness. He's back. Be careful. No, but yeah, so I guess it was like not necessarily like a conscious like storytelling decision, like this is my style. It's more of a case of like, oh well, you know, this everyone's uploading this stuff daily and this seems to be the way they pull it off. I'll do the same. So I guess it does come down to like the copycat you know, nature of the early Gacha. Which I guess that is one thing that I'm glad is lost in some ways, because now with such an emphasis being, if people see that a video idea is unoriginal, then they'll, you know, be clowned upon, versus before where it was just, you know, the norm as far as, you know, everyone doing the same trends. Which feels like a fascinating thing, and that actually you can attribute to the Music Freaks, most likely, but, you know, that's ultimately like a documentary style video that someone could make at some point. But yeah, so so I guess it was a necessity thing, but ultimately I like when it happens sometimes. It depends, because in this case, it was kind of distracting in the way that like the flashback just sort of ended in the last episode, continued in this one, took up the bulk of the episode this time, and then we'll get like tiny bits of the next part. Sometimes you can feel like these things should like wrap up before or after when they do, rather than just for the sake of like getting to like a time length and then cutting the video there. I know that Shorty mentioned that what he did for Taming the Bad Boy was, the reason that happened was because he was trying to do like mostly daily stuff, because if there was too much of a gap between the episodes, then all the momentum would have been lost. Which, by YouTube, you understand, as that may well have happened. Ultimately, I'm glad to say that in case of the Mutant Girl, you know, the numbers have only but increased as far as, like, you know, people's engagement, even though it's been, like, you know, even though it takes months from one upload to the next. But ultimately, you know, Shorty couldn't know that at the time. So I understand the fear, definitely. And I think it ultimately comes into like how well a show like engages you. So ultimately, this series, this concept, especially in episode 1, hooked in a lot of people. In hindsight, it probably would have been better to take a little bit extra time to iron these things out, not make a retcon immediately from the thing that hooked people in, and then you know, continue in a possibly less dramatic way. In this case, also, you know, I don't think there was a warning this time as far as you know, scenes in the description. Nope, because it was because that was kind of immediately reversed. It still feels like some unanswered questions, because like the Stitch thing was resolved, but then she didn't continue to talk afterwards. Again, that could have been because she was too frightened to do so, but that's not what we cut away before we get to like concretely see that. It's the most logical conclusion right now, but that's not really saying much. Logical conclusions in this Gacha series, yeah, not really a thing that we can like say for certain anymore, unfortunately. But hey, again, at least there's like a there's another positive influence in here, and also bear in mind the fact that like Tomoe seems to be like on the fence, Mary seems to be you know, just along right for the food. It's not like that. Like it's like, oh, I guess that's a trick I missed out in Mutant Girl, actually, where there's some people who I could have had a character who was on the fence about Morwenna, but kind of like, you know, warmed up to her in the same friendship group. I could have had that. That might, in hindsight, that'd be a good idea to explore, because that does happen with a lot of people. They have like preconceived notions and they realize themselves that that's not the case. That would be a good character arc to explore. Dang it! I should have done that now. I should have added a fourth friend to the roster. Anyway, so yeah, like that I at least like, you know, admires. You know, maybe it was either Bon or Ghost Kitty who said that Tomoe could have a redemption arc. just really done too much as far as like redemption stuff. Now she's been like mildly judgmental, but you know, she could have like a growth arc of some kind potentially. That's ultimately a good thing you can see, and hopefully it won't be a case of once a bully, always a bully. You know, once a spy, always a spy forever. Anyway, so you're gonna have a bet. You bet on staying a mean girl. Well, I guess we'll find out next week. I'm not sure when BB's going to return, so I'm just going to you know, wrap up the stream now. So thanks everyone for watching and putting up with the audio issues. I'd say I hope they don't happen again. I'll have to reshuffle my interface to see what that was all about. And just, you know, bear in mind that in the future, wiggling cables can be both a blessing and a curse depending on what happens. So there you have it. And it was a good session to have like BB here because that definitely did raise my spirits. Oh right, I said I was gonna send the link to the video. Hold on, yeah, link to the thing. Okay, YouTube Studio. Let's see. Christmas card. Okay, it was the Christmas card 2017, which came out on Christmas. Pretty sure it's this one, right? Yeah, if you talk about bad mic quality, 2017 is before I got my first mic, so you know. Yeah, bear that in mind. All right. There you have it. Enjoy, and while you do that, before you leave, please leave a like or dislike because your opinion matters. And subscribe if you haven't done so already. And on that note, until next time, farewell.